So while all Nintendo fans are currently on super high alert for the upcoming September Nintendo Direct official announcement and confirmation, there is a big question that is floating around online that's actually been asked by a leaker that you may or may not be familiar with at this point, known as Pioro. Due to their track record with having no inaccurate leaks and only leaking a ton of stuff ahead of its announcement from Nintendo at the most recent June Direct and some one-off trailers. Anyway, this is somebody who's potentially not just hinting at things that may or may not come true, but it's actually somebody who's straight up spoiling the Direct to the point where they tweeted out, go ahead and mute this account if you don't want to have any spoilers walking into the upcoming Direct presentation. And while we don't know what the big show closer game will be, we do have Pioro asking this question: what will close the Direct? And that's really the question I want to ask in today's video, because I can only think of one or two different games that might be worthy of that show closer shock value moment that Nintendo loves to have at the end of their events. I would have been Team Donkey Kong as a big show closing announcement when we originally thought that the tweet that Pioro sent out with Donkey Kong rolling into action from the Mario Bros movie was referencing Donkey Kong getting his own mainline game. Maybe they go 3D, maybe they go Kirby in the Forgotten Land type of direction with that 3D but more controlled camera view type of angle. Or maybe it's even just a follow-up to Tropical Freeze and another fantastic 2D action platformer. I would have been down for all of that. It sounds like the Donkey Kong game in question is actually going to be Donkey Kong versus Mario, which is something that I'm sure some people out there have nostalgia for it and enjoy those iterations. I am not familiar with the series myself, and hence I'm not really going to be that excited for that particular game announcement. And I also don't think the masses will either. So I don't think that that's a game that closes out the show. We know that we've already gotten the very large, detailed Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct. So while I do think that we'll see that game show up again with some kind of hype launch trailer reminding us to all go out and pre-order it, I don't think that it is that show closing moment because it's not a fresh new announcement. Same thing goes for Super Mario RPG and of course Princess Peach game and even Luigi's Mansion. We've seen these games at the June Direct, so they're not going to have that big shock value factor. And that leaves two franchises in mind that could potentially close this thing out. We know that there is an outstanding rumor for something Zelda to happen in 2023. And I do think that there is a small chance that we will get something else Zelda, especially following the announcement that Tears of the Kingdom will not have any DLC. It doesn't necessarily mean, this rumor doesn't suggest that the game or something Zelda has to come out in 2023, but that we will learn about something else Zelda in 2023. I do think it would be a logical business decision for Nintendo around their holiday season to actually market something Zelda. Granted, you could say we're still in the release year of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and yes, we are, so maybe we don't get anything at all, but I do think that games like the long-rumored Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD ports would be a perfect candidate to throw them on the shelves and have them sell. I also feel like Nintendo may be at this point just saving them for the next generation console, but I think that if we see either those ports come over or some kind of brand new 2D or 3D Zelda of some sort, but the more traditional linear progression style Zelda, I think that either one of those would be a great fit for a surprise holiday 2023 title, and I wouldn't totally rule out the possibility of Zelda being here. However, what I do think is actually more likely, and the franchise that could indeed close out this entire presentation, if it is indeed present here, is none other than Metroid Prime 4, with a gameplay trailer, a big reveal for what we will be diving into within this title, and maybe even a loose timeline of when it will launch, like summer 2024 or something like that. According to Mr. Jeff Grubb, we know to expect Prime Echoes Remastered sometime soon, so I do think that that could show up here as a shadow drop in the middle of the Direct, similar to how they did it last time, tie it in back to back with the NSO updates and announcements, and surprise, we can play Metroid Prime 2 Echoes that day of the presentation, and then the physical edition will come out a week or two later. But then once we get to that one last thing segment of the Direct, we could indeed see Nintendo close it out with a showing of Metroid Prime 4, and I think this could take up a decent chunk, another 5 or 7 minutes of the Direct to really show us and sell us on what Retro Studios has been working on this entire time. We know it has so much hype and anticipation around it due to how long this thing's been in development. If you're not familiar with the history, we learned about this game in 2017, the launch year of the Nintendo Switch, with that logo splash screen that has been played far too many times for Metroid fans, myself included, because that's all we have to show when we reference this game. Although I will say Prime 1 remastered footage definitely helps out. Having that officially released for all of the Metroid Prime fans out there is great, but we need to figure out what's really going on with this game, and we haven't really heard Nintendo take any time out of one of their presentations to acknowledge it, other than the announcement that development had to be restarted in 2019. I guess we did get a very quick mention of it whenever they revealed Metroid Dread to us, but you get the idea. Us Metroid fans have been waiting a long time to see what's going on with Metroid Prime 4, and I do personally think this could be the perfect show closer moment where we will get that surprising trailer that has a ton of different details hidden throughout it. There will be various different deep dive looks at the trailer from YouTubers and websites alike, and you can really start to push the train forward as far as the marketing promotional hype for this massive game that I really think Nintendo wants to elevate the Metroid series with. I think they want to eventually get Samus Aran and the Metroid name up to the level of a Mario or a Donkey Kong. It may not happen, but I do think Nintendo wants to elevate it at least up to that Donkey Kong level of sales where 5 to 10 million plus is not out of the realm of possibility. We know that Dread is the most successful Metroid game in the entire franchise, and that has sold over 3 million copies at this point. I think Nintendo wants to have their breakthrough moment with this Prime 4 game, and if there was ever a time to do it, it is now with an install base of 129 plus million units of the Switch out there. Launch it on the Switch and maybe even make it a cross-generational title to really showcase what the power of the Nintendo Switch 2 can do, but sell it to an existing very large user base and really see what Metroid can do if you build it up with the modern day marketing that Nintendo has in terms of their tactics. They've really grown over the years on how they market games, and I do think they could get Metroid in the hands of a ton of new gamers and take it to new heights, because if you stop and look around at series like Zelda even, we never saw Zelda games blow up to the level of success that they did until Breath of the Wild. In fact, the most successful Zelda game prior to that really did about half the total unit sales with Twilight Princess. So Nintendo is not a stranger to elevating series and getting them up to a new level of sales and really having that breakthrough aha moment for fans. And I am hopeful that that is what Metroid Prime 4 is for the Metroid franchise, and I think that that only means good things for the future of the series. We already have rumors of another 2D Metroid in development somewhere. So while I'm not setting all my hopes, dreams, and expectations on Metroid Prime 4 showing up at this event at all, in fact, I'm more setting my expectations on at least seeing Prime 2 Echo's shadow drop there, but I'm not setting my expectations necessarily on seeing this Prime 4 reveal, but I do think it could be that perfect one more thing for Nintendo to close out the show and to really get us all bought in on pre-ordering this game and hopefully getting some kind of launch window or loose timeline of when we can pick it up in hand ourselves. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal thoughts and opinions on what, if anything, may close this Nintendo Direct presentation. Do you think Prime 4 is a perfect candidate? Do you think we might get lucky and that one more Zelda thing in 2023 is real and maybe it's the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD ports finally being here? Or are you somebody that thinks that we might not get a Nintendo Direct at all this month and that maybe Nintendo lets us ride all the way till February without any kind of major new game announcements? I definitely don't think that, but I would love to hear if you do and the reason why. So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.